Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Fractured Realities. I am once again your host, Jay, and I just wanted to. I've been getting a lot of comments on a few of my videos, mostly positive, and I do appreciate that. But there's been a couple that have been, slightly negative. When it comes to the aspect of religion, everybody has their different views. Christianity itself, which is the most widely spread religion, is fractured into so many different denominations. It's almost hard to keep up. Um, Now, I will tell a little bit about myself. My family, as I was growing up, I was actually baptized Methodist. Um, a lot of Methodists, quite a few Baptists in my family. The majority of my family were Christian. My mom was a firm believer in Christianity. My father, before he passed away, always kind of thought of himself as an agnostic, seeing is believing. But, in his final days, he actually had, preachers and religious people come into the house and do a blessing for him, and he welcomed it. So it gave them peace of mind. It gave them security and something to believe in. Now, for some people, that works and that resonates. For other people, it does not. Okay. I went to churches my entire life. Different ones. Seventh Day Adventist. I ventured into the Jehovah Witness temple. I've been to Baptist, Catholic churches. I love going into Catholic churches, by the way, even still to this day, because I just love the architecture and the art, and it's just this overwhelming feeling. It's ceremony, very rooted in paganism, actually, but that's okay. I don't have any issue with the Catholic religion, nor do I have any issue with any other religion or any other sect of Christianity or otherwise. I just always wanted that feeling, and I like how when you go to churches, you get that feeling of security. You get people shaking your hand. It's nice to relate, to be part of that group. But then when it comes to the doctrine that most preach, it just always kind of fell short. I mean, there were always more questions than answers for myself. And like I said, I tried up until a few years ago. I'd go to churches and being part of AA and being part of the NA program, I do encourage people who follow those beliefs to go to church and to be redeemed and to find meaning in a higher power. Okay. But just for me, it just got to the point. Okay, once you start digging into history, archaeology, things like that, you start finding out more and more, and you might come to conclusions that could be, hurtful to yourself and your beliefs. I never clung hard to any Christian beliefs myself, but I always needed more proof. And then as I studied more, the proof started piling up in the opposite direction for me. Now, I could go on and on and on about this. The Council of Nicaea, the other Gospels that were held out of the Bible, the creation story and the similarities between the Sumerian creation story and the biblical creation story, and so on and so forth. The tree of life, the tree of knowledge. It just can go on and on. I'm not going to do that because there's a lot of people that are a lot more eloquent and a lot more well spoken and articulate on the subject than myself. I could study, it sounds great in my mind, but sometimes when I spit it out of my mouth, it comes out sounding like complete gibberish. So I'm going to leave that to the experts, people who have, better editing techniques, better speaking techniques, and that type of thing. If you're comfortable with what you believe in and you're comfortable with what you feel in your heart and it resonates with you, then by all means, stick with it. If it makes you feel good, if it makes you feel good to be a Baptist. See, I have never connected enough with any certain religious order in order to say that I'm part of that. I can't say that I'm Wiccan. I can't say that I'm Druidic. I can't say that I'm Christian or Muslim or Buddhist. Personally, I probably pull a little bit from all those beliefs, well, except maybe Islam. But to proclaim myself a Christian would be false. I'm not a Christian. I am not part of a church. I'm not part of an organization. A lot of people comment on my with religious comments and tell me that I need to find God and I need to find Jesus and proclaim him, and that's fine. I don't get upset about those. I like those comments, and those people, out of the goodness of their heart, are trying to help in their own way. They're not doing it maliciously. But then again, you do have certain people who insist and pound, use the witch's hammer to pound in the subject and try to forcefully threaten in their beliefs, which is the part of Christianity that not only doesn't resonate with me, but it's kept me literally away from churches and away from religious discussions and away from religious people. If it's something that you feel in your heart and you feel with your own spirituality, then it's good for you. But if it's something that has to be threatened, and this goes through for many things. I don't subscribe to control systems. I don't consider myself a Republican. I don't consider myself a Democrat. I don't consider myself a Christian or a Wiccan or an atheist. I don't go all in on groups. I can draw a little bit from each and learn and build my own spirituality from within. See, spirituality is something that you gain, you learn, you obtain knowledge throughout your life. It's not something that can be hammered in and threatened. Just like politics, they threaten your paycheck. They threaten your freedom with jailing. They threaten to remove services. And in some ways, the Abrahamic religions especially do the same thing. They threaten you with eternal damnation, removal from God, removal from essence, removal from the creation, hellfire, eternal torture, and it just goes on and on. If you don't fall down onto your knees, give up individuality, give up your own sense of being, and hand your essence away to something that you can't see, that you can't feel, that isn't tangible. Now, do I believe in ghosts? Do I believe in spirits? Yes, I do, because those are things that I've personally seen in my life. Those are things that personally resonate. Those are things that I've seen, touched, felt. That's real to me. Maybe not to you. I'm not trying to convince anybody that there's a supernatural world. I never have. Like I said, search it on your own. If you feel it, it's real to you. If not, it's not. Reality is subjective, as I've said many times. We all form our own realities. This is nothing but a manufactured consciousness that we're in. Okay, we are basically spirit-powered meat suits. Okay, but there is a higher consciousness behind who and what we are. Now, it's up to you to determine and figure out what that consciousness is. Now, you can call it God, you can call it Christ, you can call it whatever you like. The all, the creator, the source. And I do believe that exists. I do believe that there is some source that we all came from. And from that hi Vlad, this is my pupper, sorry, he likes to come and say hello. But I believe that is true to a certain extent. But I believe that our spirit manifests that which in ourselves, the Luciferian consciousness, the God consciousness, good, evil. See, these are ways that our soul tries to explain the unexplainable. Where did we come from? How did this? And I don't believe the whole, monkey fish evolution narrative either. Nor do I believe the creation narrative that some giant ghost in the sky snapped his fingers and everything came into being. I think that there's probably some kind of happy middle ground there between the two that actually makes more sense. And science would pretty much back me up if people would be willing to disavow the whole communist evolution narrative, which doesn't make sense. They still haven't found the missing link, and they literally the ones that they have found in with the exception of the Neanderthals. Now the Neanderthals, if you study and you look into them, were actually had a larger brain. They had building skills, they had farming skills, they had cultures, and they had societies. They weren't cavemen. Now, these ape-like creatures that they found, literally, to me, are apes. They have flat feet. They don't have arched heels like we do. They have the elongated thumbs. They are ape creatures. They're not humans. Yes, we do share certain parts of our DNA with them. We also share certain parts of our DNA with sunflowers. We share certain parts of our DNA with mineral. Anything that's earthbound or carbon-based or crystalline-based, we share part of our DNA with. So yeah, we're going to share part of our DNA with apes. That does not mean that we were descended from apes. But I'm not going to get into that either. Sorry, sometimes I do veer off. But I did my video on my near-death experience, and if you haven't watched it, check it out. It's at almost 4,000 views, which is just phenomenal. I never thought that anybody would be that interested in what I had to say or my experiences, but I thank you all. And I met quite a few people, just from the comments, because I try to return every comment. I try to, good or bad, I reply. I try to keep in touch with my people and with my audience. I don't do this to make money. I do this to share knowledge. I share a piece of myself with you. I don't ask anything from you. I'm not making money off this. I'm not furthering any sort of agenda. I don't have a Luciferian agenda. I don't have a satanic agenda. I'm not part of the Illuminati. None of those things. I'm just a normal guy. I work 2 jobs. I have 2 kids. I got a few animals. I keep to myself, but I've studied my entire life on certain subjects, so I like to share. I like to partake knowledge, and I like to extend knowledge to other people. Whether they accept that knowledge or not is up to them. That's fine. You don't have to accept what I say. I'm not a prophet. I'm not an empath. I'm no higher being. I don't call myself an ascended master. None of that nonsense. I just am. I'm Jay Warner. This is who I am. This is what I do. Okay. If you like that, that's fine. Subscribe. Stick around. That's great. Then there's other people who try to bash in the narrative. Have you accepted Christ? Have you accepted? And I'm like, look, if that's good for you, that's fine. And I tell them, hey, I'm open for options. If Christ appears to me right now and I feel it resonates with me, I'll accept it with open arms. But until I see some physical, tangible proof that this isn't a made-up story or a control mechanism, that's where my belief lies. And I'm sorry, I apologize. And like I said, all my Christian people, my followers, I love you. You're great people. Keep up the good work. Preach the gospel if that's what you need to do. But if somebody doesn't accept it, move on. I mean, growing spiritually means growing spiritually through yourself. You do yourself first. You make yourself into that Christ-like consciousness. You create yourself into being, a better person, a sharing person, a more giving person, a more empathetic person. You do that through yourselves. So now personally, I help people. I help a lot of people. And I'm not going to give examples of this because I don't virtue signal. I don't say, hey, look what nice things I did. Hit like. Love me. I don't do that. I do that because that's who I am. I want to help people. I want people to feel good. And I don't do it for reward. I don't do it so that I can play a harp on a cloud in a golden kingdom and sit at the feet of a great magic giant. I do it because it's the right thing to do, because it's humanity, because I see suffering in the world. I see kids that are sick. I see people that are hurt. So I extend a hand where I can, whether it's help, whether it's spreading message, whether it's financial. I do what I can, and I do try to help people, regardless of my beliefs or lack thereof. You don't have to be a Christian and a churchgoer to be a good person. You can be both, or you could be a person who goes to church who is just angry at life and sees the devil and everything. Anytime Miley Cyrus does this, you lose your mind. You scream Satan and Illuminati and reptilians, and you live in a world of fear, and you live in a world of anger. You lash out at people who don't follow your narrative. You people are followers. That's great. We can't all be shepherds. There's going to be sheep in the world, and there's also going to be wolves. There's going to be people who try to push this narrative. If anybody knows anything about Martin Luther and the Christian referendum, about the popes, about the Roman Catholic Church, and many people have been killed in the name of religion. More people have been killed in the name of Christianity and Islam than all the wars worldwide throughout history put together. If you don't believe me, look it up. Look at the numbers. Religion has killed and destroyed more people because of those wolves in those religions. Those people who assume control. Those people who feel that they're righteous with God. Who feel that they're part of the creation. That it is their willingness and their will to crusade against others and destroy others. Now, Europe has been decimated by this. The people of Europe, unfortunately, no longer have any of their native beliefs. Everything that they've absorbed has came from Middle Eastern influences, whether it's Islam, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Judaism. They, all the original native spiritualities have literally been stepped aside. And then Hollywood is terrible when it comes to this. When you have movies like Rosemary's Baby, and movies about witchcraft, the witchcraft movies, unless you want to look at boobs, they're completely retarded. The Wicker Man, the original version, actually I liked because it was kind of crazy and kind of quirky. It was like a witchcraft version of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It was entertaining. There was singing and dancing, and the people who did it actually did put some knowledge into the ancient beliefs and into Druidism. They did know a little tiny bit, even though they mixed it in with the whole sacrifice and burning the guy alive. That the second version of it was not the bees, not the bees. Just watch it if you don't know what I'm talking about. But and now you have somebody who is a Hasidic Jew, which I don't have. I'm not one of those anti-Semitic people. I'm not going to sit there and tell you all the Jews have an agenda to control and destroy us. Now, there are parts of their community within the Zionists. There are a small portion of them, the controllers of the world, literally, who do have that agenda to mix everything, to have no borders, to have no singular religions, to have no personal beliefs, to have no individuality, to literally be multicultural sheep, to be controlled. I don't have anything against multiculturalism. I grew up in America. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. It's pretty multicultural. My friends were of all races, nationalities, religions. It didn't matter to me. I didn't think of any of that. But you know what? My entire life, I've had it pounded into me that I'm white and I'm the evil one and I'm the bad one. And throughout history, we're the only people that were bad, and everything that was bad was a result of one of our actions, which is complete nonsense. I'm not buying into that narrative, and I'm not teaching my children that narrative, and I'm not going to spread that narrative. White people have committed atrocities. So have black people, so have Arabic people, so have other people, and they still do to this day. White Americans and white Europeans have definitely a few stains on our history, but in the past couple hundred years, we haven't done that. I mean, with the exception of the far left regimes, which I mean by far left regimes, I mean the Nazis, the fascists, the communists. They have murdered countless people. But that's almost a fanatical religion in itself, the far left zealotism. And I don't care what anybody says. What I learned and what I know throughout life, Hitler was a follower of Karl Marx. Hitler was a Marxist, a communist of a sort. He was just a national communist, not a global communist. So I don't want to hear that far left thing and how far right the Nazi Party was. That's complete hogwash, and you know fucking dick about history, if that's what you want to say. But I do respect my European heritage. I do respect my white heritage. I respect my ancestors. And I respect some of their religious beliefs that go back before Christianity. Some, what you want to call paganism. I don't really personally like that term. I don't like the term witchcraft. I don't like the term Wiccan. But some of their beliefs that go back thousands and thousands and thousands of years before the Abrahamic religions took hold and by force brought themselves in. Some of those beliefs do resonate with me. Some of those beliefs do feel more real to me than others. There are tangible things. There are things that I can speak with, things that I can touch, things that I can feel, things that are tangible, unlike the Middle Eastern beliefs that are articles of faith. And that's why I don't consider myself a Christian. Now, some of the Christian values, thou shalt kill, thou shalt lie, don't hurt, don't steal, those are great. Those are good human principles to live by. Living a Christian lifestyle is good. Don't have sex before marriage. Yeah, I mean, that's good advice. You know, every single person that you sleep with, you're sharing a part of your soul. You're sharing your energy with. And you're withholding and keeping some of their energies. So keep that in mind when you have your one night stands and you go run around and screw around with people. That's going to be with you the rest of your life. You're holding a piece of that. So yeah, there are very good reasonings behind some of their things, some of their laws. But when it comes to other things, I can't relate. I can't relate to the whole control, to giving up my own individuality and giving up my own spiritual strength and throwing it out into the universe to the unknown. Because I do personally believe that there's many, many things out in the universe that can do that. And if I'm not going to get into the whole Gnostic texts, because that would probably insult a lot of people, and I really don't want to insult Christians in that, but there are Gnostic texts that are older than the Bible that refer to the being who calls himself the one God as the demiurge. So my only advice, if you're Christian, is to be careful where you put your energies. Don't put your energies into hating other people. Don't put your energies into converting other people. Put your energies into making yourself a better person. Now, with that said, one of my friends who I talked to, I had him on my Facebook page. We communicated for a long time, but he insisted constantly to pound in his beliefs and would get very angry when I didn't just fall on my knees and proclaim the Gospels. I told him, hey, it doesn't resonate with me. I was honest. I didn't lie. You know, I didn't get into it. I didn't bash his religion. I didn't bash his beliefs. But he called everything that I said satanic. He called everything that I said Luciferian. Everything that I did was terrible and bad and damnation for my soul. So finally, I deleted him. I mean, literally, it was negative comments on everything that I would post and everything that I would say. I deleted him. Well, then I look and he goes back to my NDE video and literally, in not so many words, calls me the antichrist. So apparently now, because even though I'm a good person, I work hard, I take care of my kids, my children are straight A students, they're great people, I help out my community. The second job that I have is taking care of a handicapped individual, but apparently I'm the antichrist because I'm not fully vested into the Christian religion. So, if those of you who look at me and say, because I don't believe spiritually what you believe, that makes me evil, or that makes me the Antichrist, then guess what? I'll be that. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. If I have to be your devil and I have to be your demon because I don't believe what you believe, then maybe you ought to question your beliefs. Maybe you ought to question who you are and what you're throwing your blind faith into before you question somebody else who has achieved you no malice. Because when you put negative energies out to somebody who hasn't given you negative energies, that's going to bounce back on you, my friend. So, you think that I'm a bad guy? And you think that I'm evil, Ben? You think that I'm the antichrist? So be it. We'll see you around. Remember, your spirituality, your heart, your mind is your own. God bless. Blessed be. Ashalam. Be who you are. Be an individual. You don't have to be controlled by the masses. Nobody owns your soul but yourself. So do what thou wilt. And with that, I'll end the video. This is the Antichrist, signing off. See you around.